Welcome to Organizing for Success, using location groups for winning operations. Hosted by our strategic account team, Robert Rodeval and Evan Rings.
Feature spotlight for the week, which again is Organizing for Success. We're going to touch on location and location groups and specifically what that means and how you can utilize it. Go over a couple of use cases really quickly, and then actually have Evan demonstrate what that looks like in the system and what that means in box lock control and how you'd set that up. So again, going over locations and what that means and how that relationship works in our system and how we build things out in our architecture. We do a lot of this work on the front end. Our delivery team will work with you to get a good understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, and we can build out and help build the architecture best fitting for your use case. Here's a couple quick examples of what that looks like from a geographic example. You could have a region with multiple locations, or you could do this, as Evan mentioned, you could have different teams such as engineering or maintenance that need to segregate access. Again, any number of locks, barcodes, trackables, or sensors can live under a location. What a location group is just doing is essentially the way I describe it is you've got an organization level full of locks. You can create a barcode that opens every lock in that organization, a one-to-all relationship. You can create a one-to-one relationship with an access code and a location. So everyone that has that barcode has access to that specific location. But then there's going to be some real-world examples, and we do this with partners all the time in different use cases where you need access to many. So that's one barcode. For a user experience standpoint, you want them to have one barcode that can open a combination of locks that's in your universe, but not all the locks. And so I go through a couple quick use cases here. One is it could be delivery or a pickup of goods, and you don't want the delivery driver or the customer that's picking up to have access to every locker, but you want them to have access to their order. Maybe they need 2 lockers for storage. It's just not going to fit in one, or they have 2 items they need to pick up in different lockers, but you don't want them to have access to all the locks. You can actually put these locks into locations and create a location group, and then reuse that. So you can create it one time. It's just a one-time quick setup. Evan will show how that works. And then you can reuse that for any customer that would need that combination of locks or locations. Similarly, on delivery or pickups with carriers and couriers, it's very common practice that in lab specimen collection, maybe there's 100 clinics, but there's a specific route where maybe a driver is only hitting 15 locations. Well, you want that driver to have access to those 15 boxes, but not all 100 boxes. And so a location group and a barcode for that driver specifically to open those 15 can come in a lot of handy when doing that. So that's kind of high level what a location group is and what that means. I'm going to turn it back over to Evan one more time to show us that in box lock control, how to create a location group and walk through that process.
Perfect. Thanks, Rob. All right. So as I kind of highlighted before, here are going to be your list of locations. So for this example today, say this organization has 50 locks in their org, and they're setting up 2 different locations. They're going to be 2 separate lockers with locks on each of those lockers. And they need a user to access those 2 lockers, but not all of the rest of the locks in their organization. So what you can see here is I have HQ Locker 1 created as a location. I'm going to add another location, HQ Locker 2. Put the address here, and on the right side you can put contact information for that location. So we're going to add that, and then once I get the location added, I'm going to move the locks to that location specifically. So just quickly, I'm going to move lock 1. I'm clicking into that lock specifically. I'm clicking edit, and I'm changing the location that it's at to HQ Locker 1. And then I am also going to do that for lock 2 very quickly, just so you can see that access for those. Once I move these, if there's any access barcodes that are created already for those locations, that access will go to these locks that are now under that location as well. So back at locations, you can click on the location and see, you can scroll down and see that I have moved that lock here. So like I said, in this example, you have an employee that just needs access to these 2 lockers, but not all of these locations and the locks under those. So we're going to come up here to groups. And you can see we have a couple in here already, but we're going to add a new location group. So we're going to name this one lockers 1 and 2. You can add an address, you can add contact information, but really you want to scroll down and choose from your list of locations the locations you want to add to this group, and click Add Locations. And then Add Location Group. There we go. So now we have lockers 1 and 2 here with the 2 locations under it. So I'm going to jump back down quickly to barcodes to show you now that I've created that location group, which I only need to do once. Once that's created, you can go in at any point in the future. If you have another employee that needs access to just those 2, you would just go in and follow these steps to create the barcode for that location group. So you've got a location group here, and then you would name whatever you want, like we did before, add barcode. And so now this access barcode is going to open the 2 locks under the HQ Locker 1 and HQ Locker 2 locations specifically. And you can see that access here as well under the locations. And that is really the main things with locations and location groups and organizing.
Evan, one other thing I was thinking about with location groups I failed to mention was the reporting aspect of it. And so if you wanted reporting done for a certain segment of locations, you could also use the feature in that way to lump those locations together. All right. Well, thanks again, Evan, for joining. Great demonstration. Again, reach out anytime you have any questions at all on any of these topics. We are happy to dive in with any of our customers or prospects. So appreciate it, and everyone have a great rest of the week.
For more information about this and other features, please visit boxlock.io. And then also join us on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for the weekly transfer, a standing demo for customers, users, and prospective customers to learn more how to get the most out of the BoxLock supply chain access control platform.